And you've developed a framework, haven't you, for kind of with your preliminary assessments, you're actually able to demonstrate a kind of a ranking or a score relative to, I guess, the goal. Talk us through that. What's the health business likely to see when they work with you?
Yeah, so each business, when they sign up, we take their business domain name and we have a scanner that's completely non-invasive to your business organisation, but we automatically look to see what signals we can see from the outside looking in from your business about what technology you use, and also what steps have you already taken to secure that technology. And then once you enter into our platform, you get an initial cyber fitness score, which is an indication of what things have you already done to protect your business. For some businesses, that number can start at 0. For some businesses, that can start at a few hundred. And then as we learn more about the technology you use internally as well as some of the additional steps that you may have already taken to secure that, we award you cyber fitness points along the way. We also give you a cyber risk score. So this is the inherent risk that is in all of the technology that you use as a business owner. So the point is not to lower your risk, because the only way to do that when it comes to inherent technology risk is to stop using a technology, which is not always an option. So our goal is to help you to close the gap between your cyber fitness score and your cyber risk score. And we track it over time. We log all of the steps that you take. So then if you do have a data breach, if you do have an incident, or even if just a large customer wants to know that they can actually trust you, you have a list of all the things that you've done that we can then map against compliance standards if that's what you need as well.
Yeah, that's really great. I think it's good that you qualified the non-invasiveness at the outset, but I think a good example for people to have in their minds as they're listening to this is that if you sort of think about your house, somebody could just visually look at your house and see whether a window's open, right? So they don't have to have actually entered your house in order to realize that. So your systems as a business sort of have from a distance, you can observe potential vulnerabilities. And so being able to do those types of scans and do that kind of, best practice approach to actually understanding what the typical things are that are needed to be locked down and secure is a really good starting point. So that's kind of looking at it from the outside in. What happens next, Susie? What happens once we actually start moving inside the business? Because that's a particular area of vulnerability as well, isn't it? A lot of people probably wouldn't realize that.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the most prolific attacks that are successful against small businesses, in particular healthcare businesses, come from technologies that are used internally within the business, particularly the likes of emails getting flown around all over the place, where you might be storing your data, etc. There are vulnerabilities in all of those technologies and the way that you use them. So what we do is we have you complete a couple of really short, sharp what we call a day in the life experiences that tells us more about the technology that you use internally. So we ask you everything from what do you use for social media, what do you use for accounting, do you use MYOB or Xero, etc. So we really do cover the spectrum of your business. Once we understand which technologies you're using right across the scope of your business, our platform automatically does a cyber risk assessment on each of those technologies. So we have a team of security analysts in the background that are constantly looking for the latest threats, the latest advice around the security of each of these technologies that are used within small businesses. And then we rank them. So just like with any other risk assessment, we look for the highest, biggest risk and the lowest risk, and we rank everything for you. And then we automatically produce a tailored program for you. So it breaks, as I said, breaks all the steps down into 5 minutes, but basically it means you can log into your Cinch platform, you can see what is your biggest concern or what you should be most concerned about from a technology perspective. And then if you have 5 minutes today, what's the most important bang for buck that you could do to secure that technology and that risk. So as you complete items, all of that gets reprioritized, and so you always know what is the highest priority item for you to get on top of.
Yeah, it's I talk a lot in the industry about how important it is to actually think through what the concept of data breaches are and security are. Obviously, because healthcare is front and center in it, but also that we're seeing consistently reported that healthcare is the number one industry for data breaches in Australia, and the two big reasons, it's something like 55-45 cybersecurity related issues and human error. So that part of it, if you've got somebody in the business now, in the healthcare business, doing 5 minutes, 5-minute intervals and sort of iterating towards the goal, what about the team? What do you do to actually support the team make that cultural transformation as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the important thing to think about is when it comes to cybersecurity, your solutions aren't just introducing a new tech. That may help. So we certainly encourage, for example, the introduction of password managers into a business, which is software to help you help store your passwords so that you can always use unique, strong, different passwords across all of the different technologies. But that only works if your whole team are using password managers and if you're sharing passwords securely, because many allied health businesses would have perhaps different logins for each of their practitioners, but the office staff quite often have one login shared amongst multiple people, which creates really big security risk in the longer term. So we break down all of the actions that we have. Sometimes it's going to be introducing a new technology like a password manager. Sometimes it's going to be, here's some training that you can send to your staff to help them understand the concerns greater and how they should change their behaviour. Sometimes it's going to be, you need to introduce a new policy to your business around, perhaps verifying high-risk transactions. So if you receive an email from one of your customers saying, oh, by the way, or one of your suppliers saying, by the way, we've changed our bank account, that you actually do call and verify and make sure that that is a legitimate change in bank account. It's amazing how often small businesses, well, businesses in general, are tricked into transferring money to the wrong place, which blows my mind a little bit, because when you think about how often and what a pain it is to change banks, I don't know many businesses that change banks very often at all. And yet these tricks really do come off because they're playing on the people at the heart of the business. So it's about making sure that your team are supported and understand the changes that need to be made. And we try and give the business owners all of the tools that they need to be able to do that within their business.
Yeah, I think the password manager in the toolkit is absolutely essential because in the old days, you could actually, as a business, you bought all your PCs and you bought all the IT equipment, and it was kind of all within your physical area. So it was, in a way, it was kind of easier to quality control it, and your team members would only have access to work computers. But now what we're seeing is that the line between personal computing and work computing has blurred. There's even concepts like bring your own device. So people are choosing their own equipment and then interacting with your business network. So you've got this kind of really fluid IT environment that extends inside the clinic, at home, in between,